That's a fact. And no matter how unachievable that goal or dream might be, if you keep practicing and keep working towards it, one day you get very close.
Harder. Do it. Nobody cares. Train harder.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
The Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua face-to-face interview brings raw tension as two men from completely different realms collide. Jake Paul, the YouTuber turned fighter, steps to former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua with bold confidence. Joshua stays composed, studying Paul with a veteran's eye. Paul openly admits Joshua's size,
and even if you don't actually achieve the biggest target in your life, you might get close to it, so it's definitely worth pursuing. But someone who doesn't have goals and doesn't have a target.
Jake Paul insists this isn't some celebrity exhibition, it's a real fight against a former unified heavyweight champion. He understands the risk but says greatness requires big leaps. Joshua, calm and methodical, compliments Paul's business hustle yet
not be treated like I'm Jake Paul or a famous person. No, like they treat me like I'm trying to become a world champion, which is exactly the case.
Former UFC champion Michael Bisping labels the matchup a win-win for Jake Paul. Even if Paul loses, Bisping believes he earns respect simply by stepping in with a former heavyweight king. It proves Paul isn't chasing easy celebrity bouts.
Talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look.
For Joshua, this fight feels less like a legacy mission and more like a business decision. The weight gap plays a major role. Paul weighed around 200 pounds for Mike Tyson, while Joshua usually enters at 252 to 255 pounds. Physically, the matchup seemed unrealistic when first mentioned, and the size difference remains a huge talking point. 5. Anthony Joshua has shared the ring with the sports elite, bringing far more high-level experience than Jake Paul. Joe Rogan has emphasized this repeatedly. Joshua has survived battles with top heavyweights, while Paul is still progressing through the early stages of boxing.
He should fight Jake Paul. What's your view on that, Barry?
Money. Don't be silly. You know, I mean, you're mostly sensible, aren't you?
Mostly.
Of course, we're all purists at heart, but purism doesn't necessarily pay the bills, and boxing is a money business. And the day we don't accept that and then move on, we won't understand why certain things happen.
So if that fight's there next week and it's signable and they can do Joshua against Tyson Fury next year, take the Jake Paul fight in December, go and do it.
120.
Dana White remains dismissive of Jake Paul. He says he stopped taking Paul seriously after losing to an actual boxer. White mocks Paul's resume, calling his earlier fights glorified pay-per-view showcases. He also brushed off Paul's legal threats, insisting the fights aren't fixed, just not legitimate high-level boxing.
As a boxing purist, it doesn't sit well, but as a normal working-class lad, I've been asked by builders, would you fight Jake Paul for 5 million quid? I never got 5 million quid for fighting anyone else in a fight, so it's the silliest question in the world. I've been retired 7 years, I'm still very confident. If you give me 3 weeks to get off the couch, I'll probably still beat him with one hand. It's not, yeah. He's not a good fighter, so it's not even being disrespectful to him. As a YouTuber, as a presenter in what he does, he blows me out the water. That's his line of work, but you're stepping into boxing, another profession. Now, to call Alexa Canelo out, I think is disrespectful. To call Anthony Joshua out is lunacy, but we know why it's happening and why he does it.
Forget Jake Paul. Forget Jake
Paul. A lot of tickets.
I mean, Jake Paul's going to do what Jake Paul does, but Anthony Joshua, and with respect to you and what you did and didn't earn in your career, Anthony Joshua has earned a king's ransom.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to be fiddled with this, does he? Yeah.
No, he doesn't, but again, all I keep seeing from people out there is, you know, when is enough, and I get that, but when you're retired at 33, 34, and you've got to make that last, now you've got more experience than me in this, dealing with a lot of footballers in the past as well, yeah. And business people who have to make a certain amount of budget last.
Tommy Fury completely rejects the idea of Jake Paul fighting Joshua, calling the ambition laughable. He reminds fans he beat Paul despite having a badly injured hand, questioning Paul's credibility. Fury says Paul hasn't earned a shot at Joshua and argues Joshua gains nothing from it. He even joked that if the fight goes long, Joshua must have been paid off, because Paul can't truly trouble a heavyweight.
want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will.
I'm so sorry for my English, but I have to. See, Jake Paul does lots of good things. He has a camp for kids where he, I guess, gives training and coaching and gloves and environment for kids in Puerto Rico. He helped lots of boxers to get the bigger purse than they deserve. He has done some good things. But, and you are kind of trying to be on his side, but then he says something like that. Like you almost are on his side, and then he says, I want to fight Anthony Joshua and Canelo at the same night or whatever. Jake, fighting Anthony Joshua and Canelo is not fighting Tyron Woodley or 60 years old Mike Tyson with Alzheimer's. Anthony Joshua is able to literally kill you. No doubt. If his mission is to kill you on the ring, he will kill you. You lost against Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury won against you. What Anthony Joshua? What Canelo, my friend? Canelo, you would need the liver replacement after Canelo fight. I promise you. I don't know. So stop doing that shit. Do the good things you are doing, and we will be on your side. Just stop saying crazy.
On the other hand, Tyson Fury dropped a shocking take. The former heavyweight champion declared Jake Paul would knock out Anthony Joshua. He said, Jake Paul chins AJ 100%, I'd back him.
And yes, that's the former heavyweight champ. Why is he fighting Jake Paul? And two, why is Jake Paul putting his health and well-being on the line? Because someone asked me on Twitter, Wade, if Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. Again, it's boxing, not MMA. Jake has a little more experience, but we're talking about a massive size difference. AJ's still relatively young and still relatively got something left in the tank, and he's only fought the world-class guys for the last 10 years. This would be Jake's not only hardest fight, most dangerous fight of his career. If Jake is doing this, it could signal the last one. I'm not even joking. This could signal Jake being like, I'm having one more of these and I'm out. Because where do you go from Anthony Joshua? We'll get into that part in a second, but the Netflix thing. We know that Anthony Joshua is an exclusive fighter to DAZN. Eddie Hearn has stated that multiple times. AJ, I'm pretty sure, even has a piece of DAZN. I could be wrong about that, but he signed a mega deal years ago with them. So for this fight to take place on Netflix would mean DAZN would say, you can have one of our biggest cash draws, and maybe in a revenue share thing, or maybe Netflix pays them some money, but you can have our biggest cash draw and we don't have an affiliation with it. That seems a bit unrealistic. But having said that, this isn't a report from anybody in the camp. This is not MVP saying it. This is not Eddie Hearn saying it. This is Mike Coppinger, who I guess has talked to people in the camp. But an independent source saying that they are finalizing a deal. Not that they're in talks. They are finalizing a deal. So this is, again, we're talking 1 yard line.
Fury doubled down, calling it a legitimate 50-50th matchup and even wagering £1 million on Paul to win.
Appeal. I'm not sure Anthony Joshua's going to play the game like everyone else. And it could be fairly calamitous, I think, if Joshua stepped into a ring with Jake Paul. But we're going to watch it because we want to see Jake Paul get knocked the F out. We do. Everyone wants to see it. I mean, I've even said it to him. I was looking forward to Mike Tyson him knocking the fuck out. Doesn't surprise me. He's looking for the biggest names out there, and it just shows that he's prepared to put himself on the line to promote himself.
Would it be more competitive than the Ngannou fight, in your opinion, or less?
That's a very good analogy. It's a very good comparison. Much less competitive. I mean, I think it's got to be at that level of exhibition bout. I think it's a very dangerous fight for Jake Paul. Very dangerous. He's probably got one chance to try and counterpunch. And if he catches Joshua, he might do something, but I see that as 100%.
Fury's comments ignited a massive debate. Jake Paul fired back with full confidence, claiming he'd raise the stakes dramatically, offering £10 million on it.
This one, you got a guy who's 6'7" to Jake Paul 6'2", probably weighs 30 pounds more than him if he's 220, and who hits like a blooming mule, kicks. So, and you know, yes, Anthony Joshua's had issues against very skilled boxers, and he's been caught by Andy Ruiz, and he's been caught by Alexander Usyk twice, and out-hustled and outboxed, and knocked out by Daniel Dubois. But Jake Paul is not the kind of not the kind of guy who is going to be able to pick him apart.
Paul's pattern of calling out legendary fighters continues to irritate boxing fans. Many believe he isn't a serious contender and relies on big names to manufacture hype instead of proving himself against proper competition.
Out there on an island by myself, everyone says the same thing, and he would potentially prove all of those critics wrong. Well, yeah, he would, maybe, unless there's some funny business, right? And for Anthony Joshua, as I said, this is kind of a lose-lose, right? Because if he wins, people are still going to say, well, you only beat Jake Paul, right? The man that lost to Tommy Fury, after all, right? That's the only loss in his record, Tommy Fury. You're telling me that Tommy Fury is going to beat him, and then Anthony Joshua's not going to beat him? So if he beats him, he gets no credit. And if he loses, then holy sh**. Can you imagine? That would be the biggest downfall of any boxer's career. The reality is, he's not going to lose. There is no way on this earth that Jake Paul can beat Anthony Joshua in a boxing match. That's just a fact, okay? Look at what he did to Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou hits as hard as a Ford Escort, going 100 miles an hour or whatever that stat was. Comes from the UFC. He was the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Has a good go against Tyson Fury, but goes up against Anthony Joshua and gets flatlined. Every single punch that was thrown was landed, and every punch that landed put Francis Ngannou down, okay? So to stand there and think that Jake Paul, who's much, much smaller, who has way less experience, that doesn't weigh anything near him, is going to have a chance, and not to mention the technical abilities. Let's just talk about that. Not to mention the technical abilities or experience. We're talking about an Olympic gold medalist, remember, from back in the day, who's then gone on to become a true British boxing icon, or a worldwide boxing icon, let's be honest, right? There's no way.
Stephen A. Smith criticized Paul's choice to fight Mike Tyson. He argues that if Paul wants true respect, he should battle fighters his own age and skill level, not veterans like Joshua who possess decades of ring experience. Smith says Paul risks looking like he's chasing attention, not real competition.
Criticism in me tells me that this is going to be just an exhibition, and AJ should wipe the floor with him within the first round, right? And if he doesn't, are we getting mugged as punters?
Well, it's on Netflix, so if you've got a net...
No, but whoever's punters, when I say punters, the watching audience, right, around the world, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, mate.
I think it's dangerous.
Yeah,
I genuinely think it's dangerous.
Well, but that's
put in a world heavyweight champion.
But then the cynic,
top 4 or 5 fighters in the world.
Then the cynic in me tells me,
YouTuber who's never had a proper fight.
Right, the cynic in me straight away goes, I think AJ's probably going to be told, and I don't know this, don't go heavy on him the first.
No, he can't afford to do that. Andy Joshua can't afford to do that.
Okay, well, that's where I'm wrestling with my own mind right now. You asked me the question. How do I feel about it? I don't know what to make of it, mate. I seriously don't know what to make of it. I seriously don't.
It's a joke.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it.
I'll watch it because...
I don't know whether I will, Jay. Honestly, I probably will close the vote. Right now, I don't know whether I will.
Smith has repeatedly questioned Paul's resume, claiming he mostly fights non-boxers or aging stars. Paul insists Tommy Fury got scared of a rematch. This moment is crucial for Paul, his beaten MMA fighters and older boxers, but rarely active young talent. His loss to Fury remains one of the few times he met a prime boxer. Critics say if he wants real respect, he needs more opponents like Fury.
Mayweather. No, Mayweather. I didn't watch that. Who fought Mayweather? Oh, it was. I tell you, it was. Who was the MMA fighter?
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
The one that you didn't know the name of, yeah. Logan
Paul, right?
He fought Floyd Mayweather.
I didn't watch that one either, right?
I know, but Jake Paul's got a bit more of a bit more boxing credentials. He has. Because he
What about McGregor? Who did McGregor fight? Did he fight someone? McGregor, or have I made that up?
Yeah, I don't know. Where's your head at?
I don't know, man.
I mean,
they all
it's all over the gaff. You gave Andy your number and you gave him the talk.
His name's Adam.
Adam, sorry. You gave Adam the number.
I know.
You said 03717 22
I gave him the sports.
You gave him the sports number.
No, but I don't.
Get your head out.
No, I don't know. I don't know whether I will watch it actually. If you want the honest truth.
Well, we asked for some calls and people have phoned up. They're interested in it to have their say. Let's go to Paul, who's a Man United fan. All right, Paul?
All right, P-Dog?
Yeah. You all right? How you doing?
I'm all right, Paul. Look, obviously big news. What do you make of this?
Oh, I think, so I'm a big boxing fan. I think Jake Paul